ready to do the show. Hey guys, what is going on? Lee Sanders here of the RCWR Show. Oh yes, we're coming at you guys live for September the 2nd, 2019. What's going on, guys? We are talking about WWE RAW Fallout for tonight. Welcome one, welcome all. Special shout out to those of you that's checking out the live webcast right now. And as always, for those of you that end up checking out the show on demand and on the downloads, please note that when it comes to the audio version of our Monday shows, we include, again, for on demand and on the downloads, we include an additional 30 to 40 minutes of bonus content, topics not covered during the initial webcast. So if you don't know, now you know. Yes. So, man, a solid episode of Monday Night Raw. But, you know, before we dive right into all of that, again, welcome all. Welcome. Right? I mean, covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. Lee Sanders here. If you're new, welcome. If you haven't done so, make sure you do subscribe so you don't miss out on future content that comes your way. I hope that your Labor Day weekend was fantastic. Mine was great. I mean, it was nice to have that mental break away from work and just be able to catch up on a lot of rest, do some light work around the house, cleaning up, all that good stuff, catching up on the DVR on some non-wrestling related stuff, spend some time with friends and family. I loved it. I loved it. It was peaceful. It was quiet. I didn't even get into the whole cooking, man. Freddie! What's up, Freddie? I didn't even get into the whole cooking. I honestly, I've just been taking it easy. And my goal is, and you can see I'm slimming down a lot better, but my goal is to basically be down to 180 by the time the wedding comes around next year, which is going to be in May. So, you know, I'm doing good. It's, you know, I'm losing it slowly, but I'm happy. Any progress is better than no progress, I always say. So for me, because I had a couple offers, it was, hey, would you come on over here, eat? And it's kind of like, burp, first of all. And then second of all, it's like, yeah, kind of already did that like in July. Like, nah, good to go. Just give me my beer and give me a bag of chips Sundays when it comes to football. I'm pretty much good to go, right? But I hope your Labor Day holiday was good. Hopefully you got out, got to soak in some of that great sun, great weather, depending on where you are. I know that going into the Labor Day holiday weekend, it wasn't all peaches and cream. It wasn't all solid because of some crazy shit that had went down, and we'll talk a lot more about that later part of the show. But look, we're a couple of minutes removed from Monday's WWE Raw. I know we're going to kind of go back and forth a little bit on just some key stuff. Overall tonight, for a holiday themed episode, basically, right, I thought Raw did pretty good, because normally in the previous years when it comes to the Labor Day episodes of Raw, you kind of go, I can actually miss this. I'll be okay. There's nothing really that's going to transpire where, oh man, I missed that because whatever you were doing, right? Oh, I missed Raw and that's what happened. Oh man. But I've got to give WWE a little bit of credit. It feels like for the past 2 to 3 years, they've tried to put a little bit of a no. These Labor Day episodes, they are not throwaways, because here's some key story arcs. You know, not just one little crumb. No, we're going to give you multiple crumbs that they've been doing the past couple of years. Overall, I felt that Raw tonight was really good. And it almost puts a little bit of a bookend on a great weekend in wrestling that we had. Like, really stop and think about it. For you football fans out there, you know how big of a football fan I am. You know that basically when we get the Thursday night game, that pretty much starts the official new week of football that we get, right? Okay, so let's say, hypothetically speaking, this Thursday is the start of week 1, all right? And then Sunday, week 1 continues. You go into your Monday night football game, week 1 concludes. And then when you go to the Thursday game, week 2 begins. So for me, looking at Raw tonight pretty much had put a bookend on the weekend that we had in pro wrestling, be it from New Japan or be it from AEW or NXT UK, right? I felt that what Raw did tonight, it complemented what happened from the weekend, without a shadow of doubt, without a shadow of doubt. So hats off to WWE. See, we know how to be more proactive over here. I told you guys, when some of your favorite shows, your promotions, when they're doing it right, I'm very complimentary. When there's a few things that kind of left me scratching my head and I've got to poke a couple of holes in it, it's nothing personal. It's never personal, right? But some people feel as though it is personal, and it's not personal whatsoever. I think some people just have a little bit too much venom and vinegar in their veins, right? And it's kind of like, take a step back and just really, like seriously, just chill the fuck out, mellow out, man. So look, closing moments of Raw tonight, we saw Bayley, who was in a tag team matchup. It was a champions versus champions match. We saw Bayley team up with the Raw Women's Champion, Becky Lynch, and they took on the Women's Tag Team Champions and Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, and it was a good tag team matchup. But you kind of figured that, okay, you know what, with about less than 10 minutes left, not really enough time being put into this women's tag team match, which is okay. I mean, hey, if you're going to do about 10 minutes, that's fine. But you're kind of saying to yourself, how is this going to go off here? What are they going to do here? How are they going to give us the go home? And keep in mind, they're setting up the Steve Austin, straight up Steve Austin as his special guest this week is Becky Lynch. I mean, they were really whoring that out this week compared to the previous weeks as far as whoever Stone Cold has. You know, a little touch of plugs here and there. But tonight, since it was Becky Lynch, they really spammed it out, and rightfully so for them to spam it out. Really didn't have a problem with them spamming it out like that. But you're looking at your watch gun, it's about 10 minutes to go. How are we going to conclude this? And you're keeping in mind what had happened earlier in the night, which was Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch. They had an exchange of words. Becky Lynch had pretty much kicked it off and was talking about how, hey, Sasha Banks, yeah, you're going on and on about how you took your ball and you left and you didn't like your position in the company. You didn't like what was going on at WrestleMania and all this other stuff. You know, well, let's keep it real, right? Come on, let's keep it 100. You treated me like total freaking garbage as you were coming up through the ranks. I mean, come on. You were getting everything handed to you down there in NXT. Great run as a champion. What you were able to do with Charlotte. Think about that for a second. It was you. It was Charlotte. It was Sasha Banks. It was Bayley. You know, it was the four of us. And all of y'all got the respected opportunities that y'all got, particularly you, Sasha Banks. And along the way, you forgot about me. You treated me like dirt. And so, you know what? Being in the position that I'm in now, that's why I kept sticking it to you and girls like you every single week. Particularly you, because I knew I was going to be pushing your buttons and I wanted you to get in my face. I wanted you to come at me, right? Okay, so for Becky Lynch, you're kind of saying to yourself, okay, so from a storyline standpoint for Becky Lynch, this is all about proving her value. This is about self-value right now, right? Proving all the naysayers and all of that. Hey, you treated me crappy when you were on your way up and you forgot about us little people, rather than be about, hey, I'm going to be uplifting. I'm going to bring everybody that's around me to my level and help raise their game up as well, right? We're going to do it together rather than, fuck you, I got mine. Okay. I like that. That was fine. But then to see Sasha Banks come out and you're kind of wondering, how's Sasha going to counter all of this? And I love how Sasha came right in. And Raw tonight, by the way, came to us from Baltimore, Maryland. Hey, right here, nation's capital, Washington, D.C., basically, right? D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. It's all pretty much relatively the same. Be more. Y'all did good. Love you guys. Y'all brought the energy tonight. I loved it. I loved it because honestly, and if you've been a long-time listener, you know this, I have been a bit critical of the Baltimore crowd over the years. There has been some years where they have been pretty damn lackluster, where the Baltimore crowd has just pretty much tuned out, zoned out. Probably one of the all-time, man, you guys were so disappointing, was when they had that, I want to say it was a Raw reunion episode that they had did a couple of years back, and it was Jake the Snake Roberts' first time back in the WWE in a good long time. I mean, some years. And you wouldn't even know that a WWE Hall of Famer that left such an impression, such a great mark in the sport of pro wrestling was there by the way that Be More crowd had acted. And I remember I lit that freaking Be More crowd up because I was just tremendously disappointed and everything. But within recent years, I'll definitely say this much. Within the past, I'll say 2 years for sure. So 2 years, including this one, so that's 2 years. I'll say Be More has really stepped it up, right? They've really brought that energy. So Be More did really good tonight. But yeah, Sasha Banks, she did come out, confronted Becky Lynch, and basically had said to her, bitch, please, let's be honest. The only reason why you got as popular as you did was because Nia Jax broke your face. I wish Nia Jax had broke my face, and then I'd get all of the accolades you're able to get. I mean, seriously. All right, so she pretty much came at her that way. And what this was really about for Sasha Banks was just really checkmating Becky Lynch and all that and say, hey, look, this isn't personal. It's strictly business. And what I want is a shot at that championship. To which Becky says, well, if all you wanted was a challenge, all you had to do was ask, come on down here. Let's fight. Sasha Banks, no, honey child. I don't fight for free. I will fight you at Clash of Champions for that Raw Women's title. So, looks as though that match is officially on as Becky Lynch did accept the challenge. But we saw Charlie Caruso try to interview, I'm trying to think who it was. It was Charlie Caruso that interviewed Bayley leading up to that tag team match I just told you about. And she was saying, hey, look, you heard some of the things that Sasha Banks had said earlier, because basically Sasha kind of took a little bit of a cheap shot at the other girls along with Becky Lynch as they all were coming up and everything. Basically, Charlie was playing off of what both girls had said as far as their comeuppings and all that. And the topic of Sasha Banks had came up, and Bayley pretty much said, hey, look, we're still friends, and that's just a particular area I'm not going to dive into. She made the decision that she made, and I did what I needed to do, particularly on the SmackDown brand. You see the end result. I'm now the SmackDown Women's Champion. That's all I care about right now. Rather than talk about my relationship with Sasha Banks, why don't you talk about this tag team main event match I got, where I'm teaming up with the champion Becky Lynch to take on Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. And so Charlie did ask her thoughts about that match, all that good jazz. Later on in the night, I always forget the blonde-haired woman's name. And the fact that I keep forgetting her name, that should speak volumes to you guys. It should speak volumes to you guys because when it's all said and done, she's just not making that much of an impression on me. You know what I'm saying, guys? Now, I don't want people to look at it from here goes Lee. He's saying that woman's not attractive. No. I actually think she's cute. I like blondes. I like brunettes. Got no problem with, I think she's cute. I do. But there's nothing that is charismatic. There is nothing that is energetic. There is nothing that is, oh, hey, it's what's her face. Like, I know Kayla Braxton has caught a lot of flack on social media for some of the things that she puts out there. And, a lot of the things that she puts out there, sometimes it kind of comes back and it bites her in the ass, so to speak. But even she has a little bit of personality. Even there's a little something that you can connect to, and and to the point that you remember her name, basically. But this blonde hair girl, and no, folks, it's not Renee Young. I saw a couple of people like, oh, he's talking about Renee. No, I know the difference between Renee Young and the girl I'm talking about that's backstage, usually doing the interviews on Raw and SmackDown. The backstage girl, that's what I'm talking about. There's just nothing that is to the point. If you were to tell me next week, Lee, that girl whose name you don't remember always, she got released by the WWE, I would say I'm not surprised. She really was not. There was really nothing. Give me Kathy Kelly I think she is more charismatic, more energetic, and all that. Why has she not been integrated more in these backstage interview segments? If anybody has really proven themselves, I think it's definitely her. I mean, I think you all would definitely be in agreement. Yeah, those of you that like checking out what Kathy Kelly usually does, I think you all would be in agreement. She does a much better job than Blondie, right? But anyway, I digress. Blondie was asking Sasha Banks, hey, did you hear what Bayley had said earlier and everything? Curious what your thoughts are, and also a little bit curious about, the dynamics there going on between you and Becky Lynch, and trying to add that whole new layer. But she really was trying to get the skinny on what was up with her and Bayley. And Sasha just pretty much said, I see what you're trying to do. Get the hell out of my face. And actually made that girl run off like a little puppy. I love that. I ate that shit up. That was fantastic. Love that tremendously. So going into that main event match, it was pretty good. First 5 minutes or whatever. And then out of nowhere, Sasha Banks just came in. Looked like she was trying to do... like she was trying to attempt I guess a bank statement. I don't know. Backbreaker was maybe what she was trying to do. Backstabber, if you want to call it that. And referee pretty much had threw the match out, right? Because she had no business being in there anyway. And so it was just a nice beatdown that was going on. Becky Lynch, the champion. I'm trying to think. Bayley, I can't quite remember what was going on with Bayley. I don't know if Bayley was outside of the ring recovering or what the hell had happened exactly, because I actually was preparing for the show at this point, so you guys got to forgive me. But I do remember, because I was watching in real time, Bayley did come in, confront Sasha, because Sasha Banks did have a steel chair, and I believe she had went belligerent on Becky Lynch with that. And now that I'm kind of thinking about it, honestly, what we can do is rewind it back a little bit, because I can do that with live TV. I can just rewind it back, and we should be able to see what the hell had... Can I rewind it back? Nope, I can't rewind it back because I had changed the channel already. But I believe that's basically what happened. The point that I'm making is, sorry there for getting a little bit of a brain fart. Basically, Bayley comes in, stops Sasha Banks. Kind of like, what the hell are you doing? Give me that. What are you doing? Come on, man. That's enough. Don't you think you made your statement? I'm like, seriously. And you're kind of looking at this going, is it going to happen? Is it coming? Is this something that's coming? Come on. What's Bayley going to do here? And sure enough, Bayley took that steel chair and just went to the back of Becky Lynch. And Raw just pretty much ended like that. We had a Bayley that just, I won't say snapped, but if you want to say Bayley went heel on Becky Lynch, yeah, she definitely did that. And just kind of seeing how that went off and everything, I'm like this. Now that we can kind of put a nice ribbon around the talk of Bayley, I think we all can be in agreement that Bayley, she's awesome. She is. As far as in-ring talent goes, she is awesome. As far as how she's able to conduct herself in interviews and everything, she's pretty good. Although I have to say, there was that one interview she did that was on FS1, and that whole talk about union and, oh my God, you drive yourself around, you should have a chauffeur and all this other shit, kind of caught her off guard a little bit, and you could kind of see how she was trying to regroup it and, oh shit, look what I just walked into, and tried to come out on top, making WWE look good and everything. But a little bit of damage was already done, but not enough to the point where like someone like a John Oliver is going to have a wet asshole and he's going to be doing a whole 30-minute segment talking about that, right? Nothing of that magnitude, or people are going to be bringing that up for months to come, right? Wasn't that significant of an impact? I'd be surprised how many people still remember that at this time that we're doing the show right now. Until I brought it up, that is. But, despite that, look, keeping it honest, keeping it insightful, keeping it interactive, right? That's the motto since 2011. Her SmackDown Championship reign has been lackluster. Doesn't matter what the city is. Doesn't matter the town. The reactions have been the same, which is, oh, hey, here comes Bayley. Here she comes with the wavy balloons, and she's interacting with the crowd, and a couple of high fives, and all of that other stuff. And she's got the nice hip poppy music thing and majigga going on and everything. But take away the entrance and all that that's trying to get the crowd interactive, getting the crowd engaged. Once you get away from all of those formalities, the crowd is just pretty much sitting on their hands during whatever Bayley has to say and some of her matches. That's the honest truth. Okay? That's not me being personal. That's not me attacking, because I know we got a lot of Bayley fans out there. It's not personal. It's just the honest truth. So this is something that a majority of fans have been wanting to see for some time, which is some type of a mean streak from Bayley, maybe even a heel streak from Bayley. And on top of all of that, we were under the impression that maybe we were going to get some type of a Bayley versus Sasha Banks, but instead we saw how things had pretty much panned out. We don't need to go through the whole reading Rainbow history lesson here, but we saw how everything had panned out, and it was kind of like, okay. So these past few months of Bayley as the SmackDown Women's Champion and everything, it's been very lackluster. So to now see this new layer be unraveled in Bayley, and pretty much, hey man, this my homegirl. Nah, I'm riding with her. That's my ride and die girl. No, I'm with her. I'm liking this, and I'm hoping that coming up on SmackDown, which makes a lot of sense and all, since she is the SmackDown Women's Champion, I'm hoping to see a follow-up and Bayley saying whatever she says for whatever respective reasons she did what she did to Becky Lynch and everything. Is Becky Lynch gonna appear on SmackDown seeking some type of retribution, though? You know, you can't help but wonder that. But what I'm going to be paying attention to the most when it comes to SmackDown for this week is how much of a reaction is the crowd going to give Bayley now that she's unraveled this new layer. And I mean, for me, I liked what I saw tonight, but what I didn't really like was the fact that when Bayley was doing what she did to Becky Lynch, and let's not sugarcoat this now, let's make sure we point out something that was pretty, hey, this is actually pretty damn badass, right? Which is Becky Lynch had got a unanimous reaction tonight. The reaction was pretty damn solid for her. I mean, the crowd was just, nobody was really sitting on their hands. Nobody was really like, oh, it's Becky Lynch. Hey, all right. And hands, sitting on their hands and just being oh so quiet during her promos. No, tonight, the crowd was very energetic. They were just jumping out there and expressing their love and appreciation for Becky Lynch. Okay, so you know, keeping that in mind, and then keeping how when Bayley attacked Becky and the crowd was cheering that on. Okay, so what are we cheering on here? Are we cheering on the fact that Bayley is now showing a new layer to her character? And I believe that's what the Baltimore crowd was cheering about. I don't really think it was so much the fact that she was attacking Becky. I think it was just the idea, just the image that, so Bayley does have a bit of a mean streak. Bayley, there is more to Bayley than just a nice, cute little, right? Okay? So I'm curious what's going to happen on SmackDown this week when Bayley explains why she did what she did. And she's already giving you the seeds if you just stop and think about what all the little bit that she had put out there in the backstage interview and all that she did with Charlie tonight. She did give you a bit of a backdrop, but to be able to expand on it more on SmackDown, I'm curious what the reaction is going to be from the crowd. If they're going to be cheering her on when really what they should be doing is booing her, right? Because what she did to Becky Lynch is a heel move, so to speak, right? So I'm very curious how that's going to pan about Tuesday night. Most curious. But yeah, that was pretty good how they did that. I thought the women had held themselves pretty good tonight. You know, we were talking about the women there. Also got to give it up to Lacey Evans defeating Natalya. That actually was a pretty good match. Was looking at Lacey paying
a little bit of close attention to her, because normally when it comes to her matches, you go, well, we're usually going to get one or two botches, going to see some sloppy spots from Lacey in her match, see what's going on with her. She actually did pretty damn good this week. They took a long time. I'm watching this match. There was one thing that jumped out to me, which was, yeah, Lacey Evans, Natty. Hey, Lacey, when are you going to go nasty and home in on that elbow of Natty's? Like, you should be going for that off the break. I mean, it's bandaged up. It is just bullseye, target, go for it. And the match, my God, it felt like the match maybe went about 12 minutes. If it was longer, I wouldn't know, but it felt like maybe it was about 11, 12 minutes. And first half of that match, Lacey Evans did not home in on that elbow, but when she finally did home in on it, you're like, about damn time. But I loved everything about this match. Now, for those of you that maybe did not really see it, I know when I put this out there, there's going to be some of you guys, really, I do need to investigate this for research purposes, man. Natalya, she did have a wardrobe malfunction. The wardrobe malfunction, I think it occurred within the first 5 minutes of the match, but basically right below her butt crack, kind of almost going into her woo-ha, you saw that there was a rip, okay? And I felt bad because I'm going, man, well, at least it's small, but hopefully it doesn't get bigger, because if it gets bigger, then we're going to have some serious issues. And to the cameraman's credit, like, there was one angle you saw and you're kind of like, oh man, malfunction there with the wardrobe, right? And then you're going, well, hopefully they don't do a case where, who knows, maybe Natty does a suplex bridge with pin attempt or whatever, and it's just, show your world to me, little boy's dream. Little Dave Matthews Band there. You're like, please don't, because we don't want to zoom in like that. But, a couple of times you kind of saw a little bit of the wardrobe malfunction. You kind of had it to be just really watching the match. And then, usually when I see these guys come out, I'm looking at their wardrobe, looking, all that stuff. So for me, it was just a case where, honestly, I was playing my Madden mobile game. I'm looking up, I'm watching the match, going, I'm just back and forth, back and forth. I look up, I go, whoa, wardrobe malfunction. What's going on there? Maybe that's a rhinestone. And then showed a couple of more angles. No, that ain't no rhinestone. She's having a wardrobe problem. Hope it don't get worse. So for those of you that want to do a little bit of research tonight, before you go to bed and cry yourself to sleep, you're welcome, is all I have to say. All right, next up, we had saw the OC. The OC, they actually had helped open up Monday Night Raw. We saw Seth Rollins, Braun Strowman. They were trying to have their contract signing match, or contract signing, I should say, for their match for Seth Rollins' World Heavyweight Championship, Universal Championship at the Clash of Champions pay-per-view. OC had came out, led by AJ Styles. AJ was just doing all of the talking, and I was loving it. AJ just, man, when you just really stop and you think about that last stint that he had in TNA before going off to New Japan, and just, if there was just one really awesome thing that he was really able to work on a lot, was the promos. And if anything, he's just fine-tuned it drastically since he's been involved with the WWE. He did fantastic, just carrying the fuck out of Strowman and Seth Rollins. And basically, the reason for the whole OC being there was, hey, so Strowman can just look at a championship and he can just get an opportunity. What the hell? Okay, well, I'm looking at it. Where's my championship opportunity? And then right in that same breath, you talk about just, and I know that part of it was probably on the writers and the way that they had set it up, but it's still just the wittiness and all that, right? As you're looking at this being laid out, for AJ to immediately follow up and say to Gallows and Anderson, don't look at my United States Championship. Y'all aren't getting a title shot. No, don't look at it, boys. But my point is, and I liked how AJ just kept it going and everything. He was on fire, really, big time. He was on fire. They interrupted that. And ultimately, I'm trying to think now, there was a tag team match between Strowman, Rollins, taking on, I don't know which members it was of the OC. You guys got to forgive me. I was a little bit distracted right there. But what I do remember seeing was Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode. They did interfere in this, and I think the match was thrown out, but don't quote me on that. The match just pretty much, you had basically a 5-on-2 beatdown. It was fucking ridiculous. A 5-on-2 beatdown. I enjoyed it. I ate the shit up. Loved it tremendously. Loved it tremendously. I don't know how much of a delay you guys are experiencing right now with the show, because I know off and on the past couple of weeks we've talked about how I think there's usually like about a 90-second to like a 2-minute delay. I tried actually looking before we did the stream at my end, if there was anything I can do as far as the delay goes, and there isn't anything. There's an option where I can say if I want a delay. There is no delay by default. So if you're just now coming in, and I don't know if maybe you're hearing something about Sasha Banks and all that. I don't know how far along you guys are, but we've been off the topic of Sasha Banks and all that for at least about 5 minutes now. So before commenting, at least wait about 5 minutes to try to see if I'm going to bring it up, or if it was something I already had brought up possibly. Just kind of give you guys a little bit of FYI there. So other than that, just looking at the rest of the card, let's get through this as quickly as we can here, because I definitely want to get into some headlines that came about. We did have 2 King of the Ring matches that came about tonight. Our first one, we saw Baron Corbin defeat Cedric Alexander. That was a fantastic match. I think now a lot of you guys are kind of seeing what I'm talking about with regards to Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin has really been piecing it all together. Yeah, his costume attire, it fucking sucks. We all can be in agreement of that. But again, when you compare what he was doing when he first came to the SmackDown Blue brand, and you just compare that to where he is today, he has made leaps and bounds of improvement. And you got to remember, and longtime listeners know this, I wasn't always the biggest fan of Baron Corbin. I thought he had a great look and everything, but I always felt that, okay, he needs to connect better with the crowd. If he's going to do this heel thing, he needs to work them as best as he can, interact with them. When you're out there cutting your promos and all that, and they decide they want to try to hijack your moment and everything, don't freaking, be silent in the middle of the ring. Give them their fucking moment. And no, this is your moment. If anything, play off of them, right? Hey, CM Punk. Like, well, he's not here, you idiots. Yet I am, day in and day out. Like, what the hell's wrong with you people? Play off of them like that, basically. And so he's been coming along very, very well. And his matches is pretty much gotten to that point where frickin' Baron Corbin is the fucking man. He is the fucking man. Steven Harris. Steven, I know you're trying to get into the whole like wrestling recap thing and all that, and I wish you nothing but the best. But dude, chill, man. It's like we're talking about it. I don't know how far along. You guys gotta forgive me. That's like, Lee, what's going on? So we got Steven Harris. Once in a while, Steven Harris will pop up in the chat and he'll kind of do like a recap. But basically, it's like I appreciate all of our listeners, but it's like, if you guys want to come in my place and do the show, you can come in place and do the show, and I'll gladly take the night off. I mean, I could catch up on some extra sleep, but my point is, I've got all the notes covered. Again, this isn't a full recap show. You've been checking out the RCWR show. You know how I like to do it. If there's one greatest compliment I get from our listeners, thank you for not being a full recap show. Pay-per-view is one thing, but yeah, like, I don't need a full recap show for Raw or SmackDown. I'm only talking about the key things that caught my interest. And so far, there was a decent amount that caught my interest, but there's only a couple more things I want to talk about from Raw. If there are those of you that don't like the fact I may not bring up certain things, don't take it personal. It just did not catch my interest. And if it means that big of a deal to you, you could go do your own recap show and talk about whatever you want to talk about, right? But that's not how we do it here on this show. At least not as far as the Monday RCWR show. It ain't a full-blown recap show. But let's keep going. Baron Corbin, being very complimentary of him. He's been coming along very, very well. Love the dude. He's fucking awesome. Man, I'm telling you, when it comes to finishers, the one thing I want to give props to with regards to him, that End of Days, I've always felt that his finisher was fucking badass. And when you got a finisher like that, where the size doesn't matter of the wrestler, where the weight of the person doesn't matter, just the fact that you can just hit that move, and it's so spontaneous. It's so spontaneous of a move when it hits. And it can just come from out of nowhere. But normally when that move happens, that's pretty much it typically, right? I mean, there's only about a handful of guys where, like, hey, once he does that move, that's pretty much it. It's over, right? And Baron Corbin just has one of those moves. Just piece that together with everything else, and he's just a badass motherfucker. Just a badass motherfucker. So he advanced. Now, there was another King of the Ring matchup that came about. That actually had saw Ricochet take on Samoa Joe. That was actually a pretty good matchup. Sadly, that match had ended in a little bit of controversy. Yeah, Freddie, I love Baron. Baron's been really growing on me. I've always liked him since his SmackDown days. I also remembered his tenure right before he came up from NXT, right before he got the call up. I remember his work down in NXT, and I was liking him then, but I still kind of felt he needs to tweak a couple of things. Never on my mind was his gimmick. Never on my mind was his whole gimmick appearance and everything. I just felt that still green in a lot of areas, but no, he's come along. He's come along. Another King of the Ring matchup, Ricochet, Samoa Joe. Like I told you guys, there was a little bit of a tease there, controversial finish. Now, the closing moments of this matchup, let's make sure we set this up properly for you guys. We saw Samoa Joe fighting with Ricochet on the top turnbuckle, and Samoa Joe actually had applied the Coquina clutch on Ricochet, and it looked as though Ricochet was about to pass out completely, but with the last little bit of energy that Ricochet had, and to try to somehow get out of that submission hold, he basically puts all his strength into one of his legs and sends himself and Samoa Joe flying off of the turnbuckle. So when they both crash down on the mat, they both crash down pretty damn hard. Joe, pretty exhausted. He's pretty much out of it. Ricochet, same deal. Their hands conveniently land on one another. Referee sees what's happened. He counts the 1, 2, 3, immediately goes over to the timekeeper's table, grabs a headset, and he's basically talking to the people in the back saying, did you see what happened? Yeah, well, look, hey, from my vantage point, okay, you understand. So you understand why I did it the way I did it? Okay. And is there, okay, all right. And so the call is made that there's, both men had their hands on one another. And so as a result, yeah, you're going, okay, we get it, but who is the definitive winner? And you're kind of like, well, you know, they both kind of won there, so I really don't know what else to tell you. So a little bit of controversy right here. So later on in the night, we saw that blonde-haired girl once again, not Renee Young, the other girl, interviewing, I think it was Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin actually catches up to that referee trying to find out, hey, so exactly who am I facing in the semifinals here? Like what's going on here? So the official word now is that on next Monday's WWE RAW, it is going to be Baron Corbin basically in a triple threat match. He'll be facing Samoa Joe and Ricochet. Winner of that will advance to the finals, King of the Ring. So that's how it's looking right now. SmackDown side of things, let me see if I can actually pull up the graphic here, because we did that. That's one thing I do love when we get ready to add in the 30 to 40 minutes of bonus audio material for the show. I like that we usually talk about what happened on SmackDown. So for those of you that maybe haven't checked out the show on demand and on the downloads, the audio version of the show, know that as part of that bonus 30 to 40 minutes, we do talk about Tuesday SmackDown. So the way the grid is looking right now for the SmackDown side of things, just to recap, we did see Elias advance because he had the match against Kevin Owens. Ali had advanced. He defeated Buddy Murphy. Chad Gable had defeated Shelton Benjamin. Apollo Crews had defeated Andrade. So the way it's now looking, you've got Elias taking on Ali. And then you've got Chad Gable facing Andrade. So the winners of that one will basically go into the semifinals to figure out who's going to meet the winner from that triple threat in the King of the Ring final. So I know that's kind of a lot to... Lee, you kind of lost me a little bit. I wish I could, and I think we'll do that for you guys next time. We'll just throw up a goddamn graphic and we'll pretty much... thinking Tom and Jerry. Remember that Tom and Jerry episode where Jerry is teaching his nephew Nibbles that cats chase mice, and he just you know, forgive me there, but that might be over your all's head. Like, what the fuck is Lee talking about right now? Stay with me, people. Other than that, let's see. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that kind of caught my eye from Raw this week. I guess the Rey Mysterio thing, I mean, that was really nothing. Rey Mysterio was backstage, caught up with Charlie, pretty much had said, hey, I was talking with my son, and, you know, we talked a lot more behind the scenes from what y'all had saw of Raw a couple of weeks ago, and, you know, I just, how can I leave at a time like this? And I'm back at it. I'm here to stay. Okay, so Rey Mysterio's back at it for now. I still feel in my heart of hearts, though, that his son Dominic is going to turn on him. I laid it out kind of perfectly a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of you guys had liked that idea that I had put out there. So I wish I could spend a couple of more minutes talking about Ray, but all we had really saw was the whole backstage thing. Now, we did get a new Bray Wyatt Firefly Funhouse segment, and I enjoyed that like a motherfucker. That joint, I laughed my ass off hysterically. I was actually watching it with Tams, and we see when the Vince McMahon puppet comes up, and the Vince McMahon puppet is like, "How dare you announce you won a championship match against Seth Rollins or Braun Strowman at Hell in a Cell. Why, you're," and Bray Wyatt's like, "Wait a minute, boss, wait a minute. Don't say that. Look what I've done for you." And he shows legit $100 bills. It's real $100 bills. And the Vince McMahon puppet just starts shaking and his mouth is opening, you know, and you see the dollar signs pop up. Laugh my ass off. And Bray Wyatt goes, "Here you go, boss. Here you go. Let me give you a couple. Here you go." And he just puts a $100 bill in Vince's mouth, and the puppet actually eats it. Like he sucks that bad boy up slowly, and then the puppet just disappears. Like, he drops back down, and that's it. So yeah, apparently the Fiend wants the winner of the Universal Championship match between Rollins and Strowman at the next pay-per-view, Hell in a Cell. I love it. Look, man, the way I told you guys, the way that they gotta do Bray Wyatt just how they've been doing him. Do those Firefly segments, let the Fiend randomly attack people here and there, but as far as the Fiend wrestling on, you know, regular TV, nah, man, make people come out of their pockets for it. Let it go down on the pay-per-views. That's what I've been saying for some weeks now, and the way that they've been able to continue to go at it with him in the booking, I love it. I got no problem with it whatsoever. You know what? If that's the path that we're gonna go down, Bray Wyatt taking on the winner, Hell in a Cell, I'm all fine for it. I mean, ride that fucking gravy train. That's like, look, when it's all said and done, attendance ain't been too kind for WWE this year. I mean, shit, you heard the announcement during Raw tonight. WWE is going to be bringing Raw to Madison Square Garden for the first time in 10 years. And, oh, check this out. To really make sure things go off pretty damn good for that show, because tickets, supposedly, take it with a grain of salt, but tickets were not selling that well for that MSG show. They actually made an arrangement, again, supposedly, with Stone Cold Steve Austin and Undertaker, basically. And that's why if you had watch Raw tonight, Stone Cold, wait, he's going to be at Raw? What the hell? And that should be a fun moment, because Stone Cold Steve Austin, it's been revealed that as far as a moderator goes, Stone Cold Steve Austin will serve as a moderator next week for the official contract signing for that championship match between Strowman and Rollins at the Clash of Champions pay-per-view, since the OC had interrupted it and everything. Now, one last time we did see Strowman and Seth Rollins talk backstage, and Strowman did not think too kindly of the fact that Steve Austin is going to be serving as a moderator. He's keeping in mind, and I got to give the WWE writers credit here. You know, again, we're being proactive with the talk of WWE. Oh my God, what's going on? Is it the end of the world? I can't tell you how over the years so many people were like, he doesn't like WWE. Why is he crapping on my price? Like, it's not personal. When they're doing stuff right, I give them praise. When they're doing stuff that's making me scratch my head and going, that stupid booking 101, I'm on their ass. It's nothing personal, okay? Guys like you are making money off of WWE. Well, that's news to me, because WWE hasn't cut me a paycheck yet. Like, anything that I do as far as prize giveaways, equipment, or that's coming from my 9-to-5 job in market research and side work I do as a voiceover artist. So it's like, what the fuck? That's news to me. I wish I was on WWE's payroll, but then again, I don't wish I was on WWE's payroll. I don't wish I was on WWE's payroll, because that would mean my balls would be in a vice and I would basically be their bitch, and I really couldn't be as outspoken and a whole bunch of other shit as you guys have grown accustomed to over the years. Yeah, no thanks. I'd rather be working for a promotion that I am free to speak and all that other jazz. But I love that, you know, that the WWE writers, the way that they had pretty much did this with Strowman, they went down revisionist history. And they had Strowman basically say, well, wait a minute, man. I remember a couple of weeks ago, Stone Cold Steve Austin in that Skype interview giving you a glowing endorsement and all that. So you don't think I see the writing on the wall? You don't think I see that you and Stone Cold Steve Austin are in cahoots? That you all are trying to gang up on me? And Rollins reminds him, hey, man, that's not the case at all. I don't need anybody to fight my battles. Look, you're talking to somebody that knows what it's like to stab people in the back. But I also know what it's like to have my own brother stab me in the back. And I kind of heard that line, and I actually reclined a little bit, and I said, okay, we got a Dean Ambrose / John Moxley dig there. Okay. Hey, I like that. It's revisionist history. It's a nice, good, subtle touch. I know a lot of other people were probably going to go, without bringing up his name, he brought up John Moxley. Ooh, look, it's no different than, I know there's a lot of you were a kid at some point, you had watch soaps with your parents, right? Or there was always that one relative when you were growing up you had watched soaps with. Come on now, you guys know, just from the soap operas, that, oh man, there was this contract dispute that this actor had with the producers for this show, and as a result, he's not going to be that character anymore, so they're writing his character off. That's going to be it. Yet there's some things that had happened where, you know, a couple of months down the road or whatever, they still will bring up that character, right? I'll give you an even better example. One of my favorite actors, he was on Californication. He actually was on The Flash on a couple of episodes, the CW version. He's done a whole bunch of stuff. Roger Howarth, okay? I remember that he used to be known as Todd Manning on One Life to Live. And then One Life to Live, it pretty much had got canceled, basically, yada, yada, yada. Company called Prospect Park had came in. They pretty much had bought up all the rights and everything. Thought they were going to be able to relaunch One Life to Live on their respective network, basically, right? So as all of this was going on, Prospect Park made an arrangement with Disney, ABC Disney, to basically loan out key characters from One Life to Live to General Hospital. Okay, stay with me now. It connects back to what we're talking about with Raw here. So, for a period of time, you saw in General Hospital Roger Howard's Todd Manning character and a couple of other characters from One Life to Live. And you're like, oh, okay, well, this is pretty damn good. And people were eating it up. They loved it, right? But this is where things get kind of tricky. So, the writers for General Hospital, GH, I'm going to start referring it to from here on out, they decided, okay, well, let's do this with this character, let's do that with this character, okay? Well, they didn't get the green light from Prospect Park to do that because they had their own plan, storyline-wise, and so at this point, now it was, okay, yeah, it's kind of sticky here. You know what? Let's just get our characters back. We don't want them to have anything else to do with GH because they're messing up what we're trying to do. And so as a result of that anchor, GH had to write off the One Life to Live characters, right? Now, the contracts that they had did for Prospect Park and the reboot for One Life to Live, they only committed to a certain amount of episodes. So they could still work on GH, they just couldn't work on GH as those characters. So eventually, the One Life to Live, I think it was the One Life to Live 4 or the One Life to Live 3, they eventually came back. They were new characters, just totally new characters. My point is, once in a while, you'll have Roger Howarth, who is now the new Franco. Last I checked, he was Franco, portrayed by the actor James Franco, but it was like this demonic, crazy ass, whacked out, just psycho killer, right? So once in a while, Roger Howarth as Franco, he'll bring up something that the Todd Manning character had did without mentioning the name, right? And so you're kind of like, oh, okay, nice, subtle. So for me, when I heard what I heard with frickin' Seth Rollins saying, hey, I know what it's like to stab my best friends in the back, and I know what it's like to have a brother stab me in the back, okay, all right. Nice, subtle mention of Jon Moxley. Okay, cool. But I know a lot of people were like, ooh, it's like, okay, whatever gets you going, man. More power to you. But again, as I said at the top, Raw was actually a pretty good show this week. Again, nice little bookend on a great weekend that we had in wrestling. Now, if you missed it, there was an AEW All Out post show that was done. That is available for you guys to check out. It's on demand, on the download, so take your pick. I know if you watch the webcast version, I'm giving 35 minutes of play-by-play action for the main event match between Chris Jericho and Hangman Adam Page for the AEW Championship. For those of you that maybe don't want to watch and or hear all of that, then check out the audio version that's on demand and on downloads, where it picks up basically reviewing the CM Punk Starcast interview and then going into the pay-per-view. So you guys got to forgive me as far as like AEW talk, like, as far as recapping the All Out event. We're not going to do that because we did a show dedicated to that. Also, exclusive for our Patreon members, we have the NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff post-show. There's a post-show Fallout episode that's available exclusively to our Patreon members, so check that out. And you really should consider being a Patreon member because you get access to a lot of exclusive content, new original content, a great majority you're not going to be able to find anywhere else. Which reminds me and my good friend Anthony Missionary Thomas of Wrestling Soup, we actually had interviewed Selena Majors, aka Bambi. She is one of the head trainers down there for WOW Women of Wrestling, one of the right-handed people for David McClain, the founder and creator of WOW Women of Wrestling. And this Saturday, September 7th, WOW is going to be making its season premiere on Access TV, 8 p.m. Eastern. If you're not on the East Coast, just check your local listings and all that. You can go on Access TV's website and see what channel it is, and get all the information you need that way. But yeah, we had conducted a really great sit-down conversation with Selena Majors talking about this upcoming season of WoW. That's actually going to be made available for our Patreon members this Tuesday night. So pretty much as soon as I get home from work, I'm going to do my best to, because the audio has already been mixed. I already gave the thumbnail. Mitch will back me up because he has a copy as well. Everything's ready to go. So all you got to do is just upload it. Patreon.com/RCWR Show. $5 a month to get access to bonus audio and video content. Patreon.com/RCWR Show. Definitely want to get into some Patreon shout outs as well, because thanks to these kind people and some of our sponsors, they make the content like what you're checking out right now continue to remain free. They definitely do their part in helping out with the show expenses, man, because it adds up, man. It does add up, and every little bit does help. It's greatly appreciated. Shout out to Patreon members Freddie, Tony Bing Gaming. If you love all things Marvel Strike Force 3, Marvel's upcoming MOBA game, Super Wars, or Marvel Strike Force, you need walkthroughs, you need sneak peeks, all that good stuff. Tony Bing Gaming, he's your man. He's got a great YouTube channel. Check it out. He's got a great Patreon channel as well, or Patreon site. Check that out as well. Same name, Tony Bing Gaming. Justin Rabach, special Patreon shout out to John Krauser, my good friend John Krauser. I was so bummed out for him because he had a show that was supposed to be happening during All Out Weekend in Chicago, but the ticket sales, it just wasn't that good, and I think a large part of that was because of what was happening that respective weekend, right? So a little hard to compete, right? But he's got some shows that's going to be coming up in September, basically from September 13th through October the 4th. So basically he's like doing a show every week. And his first show, and it's called Johnny and Friends. Johnny and Friends. That's the show that's going to be coming up. And actually, no, forgive me. That was the one-off show he was supposed to be doing. I apologize. Actually, no, the show he's getting ready to do for those dates I had mentioned, Brain Freak Live. That's the name of it. Brain Freak Live. And tickets are awesome. $13 standard tickets, $11 if you are a college student, you got to bring your valid ID, $7 if you're an SC Training Center student. He's going to be doing this at the Judy's Beat Lounge on the second floor. It's at 230 West North Avenue in Chicago, Illinois. Once again, that's going to be at Judy's Beat Lounge, second floor, 230 West North Avenue in Chicago, Illinois. The first show is going to be coming up on Friday, September the 13th at 7:30 p.m. And if you guys want more information, I will actually post the link right now for you guys checking out the webcast and the stream. And for those of you that's going to be checking it out on demand and on the downloads, I'll have that link be included in the synopsis for the episode. But hang on a second here. Okay, got that. But again, it's going to be on September the 13th. I know if you type in John Krauser, Second City, basically like the first link that comes up, you'll be able to see it. And for those of you that are a little bit curious how you spell John Krauser, Krauser you spell Krausser. And if you just type in Second City, John Krauser, Second City, it's going to come up and you'll be able to see it. Matter of fact, it's the first link that says Second City in a Bing or a Google search. And as soon as you click on that first link, boom, you see all the information right there. So who else? There's a couple more people I wanted to shout out to, Patreon members wise. Who else we got here? Can't forget Michael Wolf, John Davis, Joe Raymond Jr., and my good friend Anthony Missionary Thomas of Wrestling Soup. So yeah, we've got that Selena Majors interview. That's going to be dropping Tuesday for our Patreons. If I'm burping, you guys got to forgive me in advance. I'm still chugging on a little bit of beer over here. And also, this coming Friday, that's going to be fantastic. This Friday, September 6th is going to be fantastic because me and Mish are actually going to be interviewing Teal Piper, the daughter of the Hot Rod, Rowdy Roddy Piper. So just a couple of days removed from what she had did in her participation at AEW's Casino Royale. So I'm looking forward to that. I mean, come on, it's not every day you get to talk to the daughter of a WWE legend, a WWE Hall of Famer. So I'm looking very much forward to sitting down and chatting with her. That's going to be awesome. All right, so let's get into some more wrestling little tidbits here. Look, I know everybody is going back and forth about Chris Jericho becoming the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion, right? People want to take their digs at him. Jericho is looking fat. Jericho is balding very badly. Look at him. Oh, man, here's a guy that's almost 50 years old winning the fucking championship. And, to that I say, look, I laid this, I will bring this up. I did talk about this at length on the AEW post show, but I'll just give you the summarized bullet point version of this. This is still a new company. They've got this new TV deal. And you know what? For a guy like Chris Jericho, for everything that he has been able to do as not just a writer, what he's been able to do as a musician. Let's keep in mind, him and his band Fozzy just signed a record deal with a major record label. They signed with Sony. Okay? So, writer, musician, you need somebody to host a show or, rock music awards or do some type of countdown. He's done stuff for VH1, MTV, you name it, right? Done his own original webcast shows or whatever. Podcaster, jack of all trades basically, and pretty much successfully has been able to do not one but two cruises so far, getting ready to do a third fucking cruise. Okay? This man has been ultimately a very smart businessman, all right? Still looks very recognizable as well. And the fact that the championship has been put on him just from a marketing PR standpoint, it's good on so many levels. If you ask me straight up, would I have loved it if it would have been Hangman Adam Page to be the AEW World Champion? Yes, I would have loved it. But look at it like this. Now that you have Chris Jericho as the champion, and I hope that they continue to build up Hangman Page. I really hope that Jericho doesn't move on to a new opponent, because I think that the chase is better than the catch. I've always said that. And in the case of Adam Page, your ultimate babyface, for him to continue to be involved in a program with Jericho, it would do nothing more than continue to help elevate Adam Page. And I felt that what they had did at All Out on Saturday, I felt that Jericho in his own way helped establish Adam Page as a main eventer. Okay? Definitely. Say what you will about the match. Maybe there was a couple of things that kind of looked a little bit off and everything. Some of the psychology was maybe a little bit off as far as how Adam Page should have been going into this, booking wise or whatever. And I'm not talking about the win-loss, just certain elements of how the match had played out throughout the night. But having Jericho as the champion right now, it's not a bad thing. Because, really stop and think about it. Would so many wrestling websites, would they give that respected coverage? And oh yeah, Adam Page had won the, it's not, he's good. Don't get me wrong, he's good. But it's not a eye-grabbing headline for all the wrestling websites, the podcast land. It's just not. Would there really have been a big old platter of podcasts and Rolling Stone and all these other people that's going to want to interview Hangman Adam Page by becoming the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion? Probably not like that. But a guy like Chris Jericho, all those years in WCW, all those years in the WWE, and always having his hand on the pulse of whatever's catchy. Whatever is trending, yeah, you have him as your yeah, that kind of makes a lot of sense in the world. Why not? Right? So mark my words, I think as far as who's going to be ultimately your second AEW heavyweight champion, I truly believe it's going to be Hangman Adam Page. I really do. I'd be shocked if they went in a different direction as far as who's Jericho's next opponent is going to be. I really, really would be shocked. Got some, see, I'm trying to think if there's any other, in other AEW news, AEW's Tony Khan, he did confirm it. But you know, the girl that some people were like, hey, it's the original Bayley, or they were like, oh, no. If anything, she's a Bayley ripoff or whatever. I can't think of her name right now, but let me see if I can actually pull up her name right now. You guys got to bear with me. Yes, that's the person I was thinking. Kylie Ray. Kylie Ray is no longer working for AEW. I'm not really sure what the hell had happened with regards to that. But yeah, apparently she is no longer working for AEW. So Tony Khan had confirmed it, that she basically was granted her release. He said, and I quote here, she is no longer with us. He had said this in the post-show media conference call or conference meetup or whatever after the event. She asked for her release and we granted it. She called me and said if she could be released from her contract. It was pretty simple. I said yeah and asked if everything was okay. She said yeah and didn't want to be with the company anymore. Khan had described the split as super amicable. And remember, she made her debut in June. So I'm not really sure what the hell was going on with that. It's kind of weird too, because from her initial involvement with AEW, it really kind of seemed like AEW had some big plans for her. Now you can't really help but wonder, in the grand scheme of things, if she ultimately was supposed to be going into that AEW DC show coming up October 2nd, if maybe it was supposed to be her taking on Nyla Rose to be crowned the first ever AEW Women's Champion. Because it really seemed as though, I think those of you can just kind of really take a step back, it really seemed as though they were pretty big on her. So kind of weird how they did that. I would say between her and Britt Baker, Nyla Rose definitely seemed like a no-brainer, so to speak, but then you could have also made the argument Awesome Kong as well. You could definitely throw her into the mix as well, but yeah, kind of odd. Hopefully everything is okay in her personal life, and like I say to you guys all the time, when it comes to these wrestlers and their personal lives, my motto is, don't pry. Unless they want you to know and they take to social media and they put it out there themselves and they're asking for your thoughts, your prayers and all that, then go on ahead and, okay, but only when they've reached out and they've let it be known, right? That's just, so I hope everything on a personal level is okay with her. And, hopefully maybe somewhere down the road, we can actually see her do something with AEW once again. It'd be kind of nice, because I thought she was off to relatively a decent start. One other thing I want to get into here, what a weird week. We were talking about just now with Kylie Ray, and hopefully as far as her personal life, there's really no problems and all of that other shit. Something I want to get into this past week was relatively crazy, and I want to pull up a tweet I had mentioned here, because this is very important. Let me see if I can actually pull it up here. Bear with me here, guys. I think I almost got it, because it's very important I bring this up here. I don't think I'm gonna be able to find it, because I had said what a weird week it's been. And it's been a relatively weird week. Yeah, I'm not finding it now, which is sad. Hang on here, guys. Yeah, I need this. I need this because this is very critical for the show tonight, because I wanted to offer some condolences here. So bear with me a second. One thing I will say, as I'm looking this up, congrats to Laura Lee B. Laura Lee B. She actually had won the Jim Cornette book Behind the Curtain. If you guys had missed it, we actually did review that book. It's on the YouTube channel, so you guys can find it that way. And I found the tweet that I had posted, by the way. But yeah, in case you guys don't know, we have reviewed Jim Cornette's new book, Behind the Curtain, that new graphic novel that came out on August the 23rd. Fantastic. I highly recommend you guys go out of your way, pick it up, especially if you're into old school wrestling stories. You know, you love your comic book / graphic novels. 80 pages. You're hooked, man. I mean, honestly, if you were to get the book like right now, if I put it in your hands right now, you probably would be done with that book in maybe about... you'd probably be done in about 90 minutes. I mean, it's a really good, fun read, basically. Okay, yeah, she won it because we did the contest through Amazon. And we actually had 500 people that entered the contest, believe it or not. And you can actually see the screenshot on my Twitter page. We actually had 500 people that entered it. And it was like, wow, okay, that's pretty cool. So, you know, and we did that as a test run just to see really how the Amazon giveaway contest works, and I liked how it worked, and I said, okay, so this is something we can definitely do again in the near future. I wouldn't mind doing it again. Yeah, check that out. I'm trying to see if we can talk to the artist of that. It turns out the person that I was trying to interview initially, he was not the artist. He was just one of the writers. And so when I really stop and think about it, because I know a thing or two about writing comic books, doing the illustration for comic books and all that, you know, from a storyboard standpoint, all of that shit. So basically the guy that was the writer, it's like, well, wait a minute, Jim Cornette is the one that's telling the stories. But this guy, I think Brandon Easton is his name, he was a writer. And you're like, well, wait a minute, what does that mean exactly? So basically in comic book terms, he's the guy that just basically comes up with the storyboards and what should be happening in each panel and all that. And then ultimately it's up to the artist to be able to go in and execute whatever it is that he's been instructed to do by the storyboard writer, in this case the writer being Brandon Easton. And it turns out, sadly, Brandon was not the one I initially wanted to interview. The whole time I wanted the artist, and I thought Brandon was the artist. So I kind of felt a little bit relieved when we weren't able to work things out and getting Brandon on the show. I was a bit relieved because it was like, great, you know, because the guy we really want is the artist, because his artwork is actually pretty fucking cool. I think there might be a language issue though, because I think he's French, because I visited his website and Google was like, you want us to translate this site for you? I said, yeah. And so I think he's French. I'm hoping that he speaks English pretty good. Otherwise, we may, for the first time ever in show history, we may do an interview that is conducted basically via email, where I send the questions and he answers them that way. But getting back to what I was trying to say earlier, what a weird week. Thoughts and speedy recovery to Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart, you know, look, I don't particularly care for him as a comedian. I've had people all the time, nah, man, he's a really good comedian. Just watch this and watch this. You know, don't pay attention to the stuff he's put out Hollywood-wise, you know, in big movies and all that. No. Pay attention to this stuff, because this stuff, he's good. Now, I will say this about Kevin Hart, because I don't want Kevin Hart fans to be all... I watched him in that movie with Bryan Cranston. What was the name of that movie? Was it called The Good Life? Where Bryan Cranston plays the quadriplegic, and Kevin Hart is the person that's in charge of being his personal aide and all that. I thought that was a damn good movie. I loved Kevin Hart in a dramatic role. I enjoyed him, and I said, wow, okay, this guy actually is a pretty damn good actor. Okay, all right, he's got my attention now. Okay, good. And I'm trying to see if that was the name of the movie. I don't think it was. I don't know what movie I'm thinking of. Now I got to give you guys the proper name of that movie, because I don't want to. Let me see here. The Upside. Where the fuck did I get The Good Life from? What the fuck is so good about being a quadriplegic? And well, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. You guys got to forgive me there, guys. The Upside. That was the name of the movie. And I think we actually had, me and Tams, I think we actually had reviewed that for Patreon members. I'm not really sure right now. But anyway, weird week. Kevin Hart, he was involved in an automobile accident. Now, last that was put out there, severely injured back-wise. His back is pretty messed up. He was not driving it. But you just can't help but wonder, man, how fast were you guys fucking going? Like, seriously. Also, the Category 5 hurricane that we had. I know we have some individuals in a higher power. We never heard of anything like this before. Never have heard, a Category 5. A Category 5 hurricane. Never heard of anything like this before. Anything of this magnitude. 3 months later. The Category 5 hurricane. Never have heard of anything like this before. Very, very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Well, meanwhile, so far under this individual's run in the office right now, there was 4 other hurricanes, all during his tenure in office. And it's like, how soon we forget, but whatever. Category 5 hurricane, the Texas shooting that had resulted in the death of 7 people last I heard. If that number went up, let us know in the chat before we end the stream here. Definitely my thoughts and condolences to those affected in that Texas shooting. To sit there, watch the news recap and find out what the hell had happened, it's just crazy. All right, I don't want to go off into an entirely different topic, but I'm going to leave it at that. Anything else I want to say about that, that's going to be for our Patreon members. Also, and to those of you affected by the hurricane, I hope that as far as the whole rebuilding goes, I hope it goes okay for you all, and no lives are lost and everything. I know usually with these things, a lot of property damage happens, but hopefully you guys that were affected by this hurricane are going to be affected by this hurricane. I hope you're somewhere safe for now, and the rebuilding process goes a little bit smoothly for you. We had the death of actress Valerie Harper. I kind of was a little bit familiar with her work. I never really was a fan of the Mary Tyler Moore Show, sadly. I was more of a Murphy Brown kind of guy, which is weird, right? Because you would think that, well, if you like Murphy Brown, you should have liked Mary Tyler Moore. I don't know. There's just something about Mary Tyler Moore I really couldn't get into. And I know Valerie Harper, pretty much the character she played on there was a spinoff, got her own show off of that. So, but for me, probably the one that was like, oh man, that sucks. Pinky and the Brain writer, Gordon Brassack, 65 years old. He passed away. If you guys remember, what was it? Animaniacs? I think, was that the name of the series? Animaniacs, guys? Yeah, Pinky and the Brain. They were on there and trying to figure out how to take over the world and all of that other shit. You had those 3 little, I don't know what the fuck they were. I don't know if they were dogs. I don't know if they were chimps. I don't know if they were some type of a crossbreed between a Chihuahua meets a panda bear. I don't know what the fuck they were. If they were cats. I don't know what the fuck those 3 things were, but it was basically 2 brothers and a sister, and they would always be like, hello, nurse. But yeah, the Pinky and the Brain writer, he had passed away. You're like, damn, what a depressing week when you just hear all that. All that went down within this past week, right? So I'm hoping that this week is much kinder than everything that had went down last week. And got some Impact Wrestling news to share with you guys here. I did watch Impact Wrestling from this past week because I was a little bit curious what had came about, and I do like seeing what's going on with Impact Wrestling from time to time. I think he's 55 years old now. Check this out. Ken Shamrock is going to be facing Moose. I wish I was pulling you all's leg. Ken Shamrock, 55 years old. First time being back with Impact Wrestling and all that. One of the first major matches he's going to be having is against Moose. And it's going to be at Impact Wrestling's next pay-per-view event. And as far as their next pay-per-view event, I'm actually trying to see if I got that for you all right now, because I actually have forgot which pay-per-view is coming up. But I want to say it's coming up. Let me look at it here. I don't think it's happening this week, and if it is, that's just too damn bad. I'm busy. Let me see when it's happening here. 2019. All right, so they did Slammiversary on July 7th. I know October 2nd is going to be their Bound for Glory event. And no, it's something before that. Hang on here. Let me look here. Is it this one? No, it's not that one. But I do need to talk about that one next. Hang on here. Yeah, I'm gonna need you guys' help. There is an Impact Wrestling event that's coming up sometime in the next 2 weeks, and Ken Shamrock is supposed to be facing Moose. I'm curious to see what Ken Shamrock is able to do. I'm legit curious. I want to see what he is able to do in the ring if he is still able to hang. You know, maybe he can do a little something from an MMA standpoint, but we're talking about from a pro wrestling sports entertainment standpoint. I'm curious what he's able to do. But you know, one of the burning questions I just continue to have that's always been in the back of my mind over the years when I think about Ken Shamrock, WWE, what's going on? How come? Thank you, Philip. It was Animaniacs. Thank you, Philip. What was going on with him and WWE? Like, how come they've never been able to sit down and make something happen? Like, of all the returns, we've seen Bret Hart return. We've seen Shawn Michaels. We have seen Goldberg. We've seen Jake the Snake Roberts. We've seen Bruno Sammartino patch things up with the WWE. You know, so many people we've seen patch things up. And yet, for some weird reason, I don't know what the mystery is. I don't know if there's beef. I don't know what the fuck is going on. But like, Ken Shamrock has never come back to the WWE. So I don't know what's going on with that. Also, Sami Callihan, he had a message for Impact Wrestling Committee, basically telling them, hey, ever since I won the match that I won against Tessa Blanchard to become the number one contender to face the Impact World Champion Brian Cage, I've been waiting patiently for my title shot opportunity. Y'all have been dicking and diming me left and right. Y'all need to give me my match. And I don't care what's going on with Brian Cage, whatever injuries he's got going on. Give me my shot. If he ain't going to be able to do his thing and he ain't going to be able to face me for the championship, then y'all need to do the right thing. Strip him of the title. Put it on me because I'm the new number one contender. Give me the title already. But the committee's pretty much been dicking him left and right. So he's pretty much giving them a week to make their decision. Also, kind of a hilarious match of the night. We had Taya Valkyrie. She had defended her Impact Knockouts Championship against Big Mommy. Big Mommy. Whew. Whole lot of woman. Shake for me, girl. I want to be your backdoor man. Oh, what a whole lot of love. That's a whole lot of love. Whole lot of woman. AC/DC, whole lot of Rosie. That is a whole lot of woman. That is a big girl. I was surprised to see her do a back moonsault. You guys, one match I can point out from Impact, go out of your way, YouTube, wherever, look up Taya Valkyrie versus Big Mommy. Whew. Damn, that's all I gotta say. Impact Knockouts Championship. Taya Valkyrie had retained that shortly afterwards. Tenelle Dashwood had actually got in the face of Taya Valkyrie, basically saying, hey, look, I've won championships. I've been tearing it up in other wrestling promotions, and all the people you've been facing so far, they ain't nothing. You ain't had a challenge quite like me. So she's trying to get that championship opportunity from Taya Valkyrie. Also, we had Kiera Hogan and Vanilla Vargas. I love Vanilla Vargas. She is a cute little... She almost kind of has shades of... Who's that girl that Impact Wrestling used to have back in the day? With the red hair, and then she went to ROH, was the valet for Jay Lethal for a hot minute, and then some years later, she tried to say some fucked up shit about Jay Lethal. You know, basically, Jay Lethal was like, the only way you're gonna move up is if you go down there and you pucker up your lips and you know how to blow. Oh, yeah. I can't think of her name right now. But when I look at Vanilla Vargas, she reminds me a lot of that girl. Just a little bit more subtle, a little bit more, what's the right word I'm looking for? More natural inner beauty. She's got a really nice, cool look to her. Pretty fucking badass. Yeah, they teamed up. Also, Madison Rayne took on Jordan Grace, Chick Tormenta. And that match eventually had turned into a 3-on-3. So then it morphed into Kiera Hogan, Vanilla Vargas, Madison Rayne taking on Jordan Grace, Chick Tormenta and Rosemary, the team of Jordan Grace, Tormenta, Rosemary. They had picked up the W. Now I feel not SoCal Val. It's another redhead that I'm thinking of. She wrestled in Impact Wrestling for a hot minute. And like I said, she was, yeah, SoCal Val was a valet for Jay Lethal, but this other redhead was a valet for Jay Lethal as well. She would come out a couple of years later. Matter of fact, I think last year she had came out with the allegations that Jay Lethal forced himself on her, trying to say, you know, if you don't blah blah blah, and your career is gonna be, her name's on the Taylor Hendricks. Thank you, Shaba. I can always count on Shaba. Yes, Taylor Hendricks. That was the one that had made those claims. Nah, SoCal Val has been nothing but one of the most friendliest, proactive people I've seen in pro wrestling. I haven't seen anybody say anything bad about SoCal Val. As far as controversies and all that, I haven't heard anything. Yeah, it was Taylor Hendricks for sure. I remember for sure Taylor Hendricks. Thank you for that, Shaba. So yeah, that was pretty good. We had a main event match. Michael Elgin, he defeated Rhino in a falls count anywhere match. It was a pretty good episode of Impact Wrestling, I would have to say. Go out and Ray, check it out. I mean, these days, Twitch, I don't know what's going on with the Pursuit channel. If they're still coming on Pursuit, more power to them. But I prefer watching the Twitch stream because I can interact usually with the same people on Friday nights. I missed a couple of Fridays though, so it was actually pretty nice to kick back and watch the stream with everybody interacting in real time. No Melissa Santos though. I came in like about an hour in, and I'm like, "What's up, guys? What's going on?" And we didn't see Melissa Santos. If she came in during the first hour, I don't know nothing about it, but I came in probably like about maybe 9:01. So basically, you know, beginning of the second hour. And there was no Melissa Santos. There was no Josh Matthews. There was no Don Callis. They weren't coming in during the break. So it was like, okay, well, whatever. Other Impact Wrestling news. Wanted to definitely talk about this and give my thoughts. Tessa Blanchard and Vampiro, they had a little bit of a back and forth on social media. Let's set this up for you guys properly. So as you all know, Tessa Blanchard, she is holding on to the AAA Reina de Renas Championship. And she's actually going to be defending that title at an upcoming AAA event. And as a matter of fact, it is a AAA Invading LA Impact Wrestling event. That's going to be coming up on October 13th. In Inglewood, California, at the Los Angeles Metropolitan Arena. Yeah, she's actually supposed to be defending the title at that event. And we had saw her put out a tweet basically saying, be original. Well, Vampiro, who is the director of talent for Lucha Libre AAA, he shared his opinion and about the kind of photos that she likes to share on social media. Now, let me pause right there. With regards to the photos that Tessa Blanchard likes to share, usually she shows photos of herself training, working out, but also she'll show photos of herself maybe relaxing on the beach, hanging out with some girlfriends, maybe hanging out with her man, or maybe she'll show some photos that she recently did of a nice cool photo spread or whatever. You know, that's usually it, right? So, give you some context. So Vampiro jumped out there and he said, "You're my friend. I like your comment. Don't take pictures that show your butt. You're beautiful, very, but show your strength as an athlete and continue to inspire. I support you huge. Change the way we look at women in our industry. Your other pics, you shouldn't be a model." And he pulled a tweet in delete after Tessa Blanchard had replied to that. And Tessa had basically said, "I see a strong, athletic, badass, empowering woman main eventing on Impact Wrestling pay-per-view. I work very hard to stay in the shape of an elite athlete. I'm not naive, but I would expect someone, especially in the business, to notice that I don't and have never relied on my sexuality." Now, Vampiro would respond to this, basically saying to the wrestling community and to Tessa Blanchard, I apologize that I was misunderstood. I am a huge fan of yours, and I apologize for miswording my support. To the fans, I apologize. Now, please accept my apology and let it go. It was my mistake. That's the best I can do. Look, Vampiro has usually Vampiro, and before anybody says yes, I'm aware of the whole thing that's going on with his mental health and everything, and he's got a GoFundMe set up and all of that good jazz. That's a entirely different little topic. I think maybe we'll get onto that Patreon, talking about that a little bit more, because it kind of ties into how a lot of wrestlers like to, first thing they go for the Patreons, they go for the GoFundMes. They go for the Kickstarters and all that whenever seems like things are in turmoil or whatever. But that's a different topic for another show. But look, and y'all know Tessa Blanchard is somebody I have followed for a good minute now, a couple of years now. And, if you would have asked me at any time, Lee, what's one of the first things that catches your eye when you look at Tessa Blanchard? One of the first things I would honestly say to you that catches my eye is she looks pretty tough. She looks kind of rugged. The other thing I would say to you is, as far as like what jumps out at me, having seen her and everything, what jumps out at me, talented as hell in that ring. A lot of people, and it's funny, I remember in the past when I used to talk about Tessa Blanchard, some people felt that I was being way too over the top in complimenting her. Some people felt that she was overrated, but then when they really took a step back and checked out some of her work, they too were like, no, you know what? She's actually pretty damn good. Okay. And they had instantly became fans. Hard worker. This is somebody, wherever she is able to lend her talents for whatever their respective promotions, whoever it is she needs to go out and help establish for that respective promotion, she's willing to go out there and do the work, all of that jazz. I see somebody that definitely respects the business. Sadly, it may disappoint some people, but sadly for me, on that list, as far as Tessa Blanchard goes, sex appeal never crosses my mind. Do I think she's an attractive woman? I do. But since I've been paying attention to her sex appeal and, God, she's fucking hot, none of that has ever come into my mind. Not freaking once, And I think it's kind of interesting, the stigma that we kind of put out there with some of the wrestlers that we like, because, we see a lot of male wrestlers, hey, was at the gym today and, oh man, I got myself an 8-pack. And, it's like, I don't see wrestlers that are saying, hey, you were pretty good in the ring and yada, yada, yada. Don't be focused so much on selling your sex appeal, or I don't see them, right? So, but for me, honestly, with regards to Tessa, I don't see Tessa doing foot fetish videos. I don't see Tessa doing some stupid shit like, hey man, pay $10 and you can watch me in a lingerie match and you can choose what type of clothes I'm gonna wear. Hopefully she hasn't done that before. Otherwise, that just blows a whole fucking hole in what I just said. Hopefully, she knows better now is my whole, and she does come off like she knows better now. But no, seriously, I felt, this is my thing. This is my whole thing. I'm bringing it full circle. If you're gonna say something, you're going to add somebody. Okay, you're jumping out there? Great, you're jumping out there. But fucking own it. Don't pedal back. Don't do the whole tweet and delete. Okay, you're getting a little bit of a backdraft because of what you had put out there on social media. Okay, well, you know what? Just let it stay where it is. And I wish people would stop having this whole notion that, oh, well, I said this and let me go ahead and delete that. No, my friends, it is forever in the analytics of internet history. It is forever documented. So you can delete it all you want. It is still there. the best thing you can do at this point is people that at you and they want to say whatever and you don't agree with what they say, the best thing you can do is just hit the mute button and or block them. That's pretty much how you do it. Or filter in such a way you don't come across whatever vulgar stuff may come your way. That's the best thing that you can do and that you should do. So my issue is just with the whole tweet and delete, you know. Enough said. You know, as far as what she posts on social media, because she's actually one of a couple of wrestlers that I follow, and you know, like to keep tabs, see what they're up to and everything, and usually say a little something, something. You know, I don't look at any of the stuff that she puts out there and basically go, yeah, she's posting fuck me pics. You know, now. Some people would be like, yeah, but she's, you know, usually with some of those pictures that she posts of herself, she's got a little bit of a booty thing going on. And it's kind of like, I mean, I guess, I mean, I don't really see a booty. You know, what I see is honestly a woman that takes really good care of her body, is in great shape, kind of muscular, depending. I see a strong, dominating woman looking to prove her value. Looks like she has a serious chip on her shoulders and is trying to do everything she can to prove to the naysayers that, hey, if you doubted me, if you overlooked me, you know, if you second guessed me, boy, are you wrong. And I mean, look, what is she now? 23, I think, going on 24. And I think she hasn't already done it already. She's getting ready to open up her own training school and all that. And hot commodity all over the place. Good shit, man. Fucking good shit. So my whole thing with Vampiro is like, and message anybody else. If you're going to put somebody out there, you're going to add them and all that. Look, my best advice, stop before you hit that send button. Take about 5 minutes. Think about what you're getting ready to put out there. If you're still not really sure if you should be putting it out there, then maybe you shouldn't put it out there. But once you hit that send button, always be prepared that, hey, I might be saying it this way and meaning it this way, but people are probably going to be interpreting it this way. So how do I counter that? Already think about it. And see, that's why when it comes to social media, I always like, I don't spend fucking 30 minutes thinking about every single fucking thing I'm going to say. I'm like this. I have a golden rule when it comes to social media, which is be yourself. It's not that hard. What you put out there on social media should fucking match up with 100% accuracy to if that person was in front of you and you were having a conversation with them. Your personality on social media should reflect exactly you in person. That's always been my motto, right? Because we know some people, they like to be big bad keyboard warriors and all of that other shit, but yeah, nah, fuck that shit, man, fuck that shit. And let's see, other than that, what else here? What else did I want to get into before we get ready to stick a fork in it and call it DONE done here? New Japan Pro Wrestling, they've announced it bouts for the Destruction Tour. I want to give you guys a update on how that's fucking looking here. So September 15th, Destruction in Budapest. The Budapest Beacon Plaza. This is your card so far. God damn, how many of these are there? Oh man, do I gotta read all that shit? I ain't reading all that shit. I'll give you guys the dates. Fuck, I'm not going through all them Japanese names because I'm gonna fuck some of them up. But basically, you've got the event coming up from September the 15th going to September the 16th. And then it looks like it wraps up on September the 22nd. Again, September the 16th, September the 20th. Oh, no, back up a second. September the 15th, September the 16th, and September the 22nd. NXT star Casey Canizaro. She is done with the WWE. She is the girlfriend of Ricochet, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I don't know how many of you guys were aware of that. She was one of my instant favorites from the Mae Young Classic a while back. This is a report, according to the, take it with a grain of salt, because these guys have been wrong before. Squared Circle Sirens, and they're saying that it's because of a back injury. She signed with WWE in January of last year. Made her in-ring debut at NXT April the 19th, lost to Reina Gonzalez, then made her official debut on TV in the second Mae Young Classic tournament. She lost in the second round to Rhea Ripley, if you guys recall. And yeah, she has not commented or confirmed leaving the WWE. There was a tweet that she put out there saying you just got to do things your way. Think outside the box. Push away that voice in your head that tells you to conform. Trust that little voice in your mind that tells you that you don't have to be like everybody else. So I would say take it with a grain of salt. And yeah, honestly, what I would like is colleagues like Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com. Hell, I'll even take a Ryan Satin, but I need to see these guys, the Dave Meltzers, whoever. I need to see them step up to the plate, go directly to the source, and try to see if they can confirm, and then if it's a case where she releases an official statement but says, I don't care to comment right now, then that's her right to comment like that. But at least it's some type of an official statement. So kind of take that with a grain of salt. But, if she is leaving the WWE, it's kind of sad. I had high and big expectations for her. Remember, for you guys that remember watching the Mae Young Classic, recall how she was the one that had the gymnastics. And wasn't she on American Ninja Warrior or something like that? She had all of that going on. And so you're like, whoa. And she wants to get into the world of pro wrestling. And just the way she was able to catch on to the industry so fast. I mean, it was... she was catching it and just loved her. I loved watching a little bit of work that I had saw of her. So if it is true... it's actually pretty damn fucking sad. Really bummed out to hear that. All right, so on that note, for our webcast stream of the RCWR show, that is going to do it. We do have some more topics that we're going to be diving into, but that is going to be included for on demand and on the downloads. I do want to give you guys a quick heads up as far as some quick programming notes though. So again, Tuesday night, exclusively for our Patreon members, we're going to be releasing the Selena Majors, aka Bambi, interview that myself and my good friend Anthony Missionary Thomas conducted. She works for WOW, Women of Wrestling, and is a trainer down there and everything. That'll be released Tuesday night. And then Friday, we are going to be chatting with Teal Piper, the daughter of WWE Hall of Famer, WWE legend Roddy Piper. And I think I got to get with Mitch and figure out how he wants to do that one. But knowing Mitch, I'm pretty sure the way he wants to do that one is we'll just release that interview as part of our discussion for the season premiere of WOW. I'm pretty sure that's how he wants to do it, or maybe he wants that to be a standalone. I don't know, but I'm gonna get with him and figure out how he wants to do that. And yeah, this weekend we've got some great fun football fucking action. Patreon members, I'm gonna do a bonus RCWR show as well on top of all of that. I'm gonna do it with Tams because we're both football fans, and we're gonna sit down and we're gonna offer our picks on who we think is going to go to the Super Bowl. We're going to talk about what's going on with some key teams, what we think is going to happen with some of these teams and all that. So, it's going to be some good shit. So check that out. That'll be good as well. And in the meantime, there's a whole lot of great content we did do for you guys leading up to now. We got the AEW All Out pay-per-view recap show. That's available on demand and on the downloads. Webcast version is available as well. We also got the NXT UK Takeover show. That's available on Patreon. What else do we got? We just told you what we're getting ready to put out Tuesday. So yeah, that's it. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. Happy birthday in advance to... actually, should we do the birthday right now? I mean, seriously, what's the date? Because if it's not even coming up, I see the date, but if it's not even coming up for like another week, I can actually hold off saying happy birthday and just wait until next week, actually. So let me see here. So yeah, we'll give you the happy birthday next week. Yeah, we'll give you Shaba. We'll give you the happy birthday next week, man, because that's just still technically like a week and a half out. Yeah. All right, so we'll do it then. But yeah, appreciate those of you that checked out the show live tonight, and if you're new, welcome. Make sure if you haven't done so, hit the like, subscribe, however you're checking it out. Just ultimately make sure you subscribe. That is the fucking important thing. Make sure you fucking subscribe. And special shout out to the people that had won the StarCast on Fight TV prize giveaway. In case you missed it, that's why you got to stay connected on social media, man. We actually gave out not one but two codes so that people could watch the StarCast on Fight TV. Like, they got the whole $40 package. They got to see everything in its entirety. That did not include the AEW pay-per-view, obviously, but as far as StarCast goes, we gave away two codes for it, and a lot of people had entered it. It was cool. We're definitely going to be doing some more cool stuff like that again in the near future. Hopefully we can do some stuff some more with Fight the Good Kind people over there at Fight TV. So yeah, so that's definitely going to do it. Appreciate you guys checking out the show. Remember, for the downloads, we're going to include an additional probably 25 to 30 minutes of some bonus audio content, some stuff I just want to do exclusively for the downloads. So that whole show will be put together, mixed, edited, all that good stuff. That'll be ready to go Tuesday night as well, to kind of coincide with the release of that Patreon episode with Selena Majors. Patreon.com/RCWR Show. That's going to do it. Wishing all y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. Thank you guys so much. And I'll talk to you later. Y'all be well, my friends. Take care.